All right, welcome to another episode of PCs and EVs, guys. You join me today with a 28 kilowatt hour 2019 Hyundai IONIQ EV. Yes, you heard me correct. It's not an IONIQ 5, it's not an IONIQ 6. It's actually the original IONIQ as an electric vehicle. Now, this vehicle, when new, was getting about 126 miles on the EPA testing cycle. And I mean, big thanks to Eco Auto for letting us take a look at it today. It's still in amazing condition, and I actually have already had a chance to take a look at it, its driving dynamics and everything, and it drives really, really well. For under $20,000, which is where this vehicle sits, I'd say it's probably a very good purchase. All right, so you guys joined me, like I said earlier, in the 2019 IONIQ EV. As far as specs for this vehicle, it has about 120 horsepower roughly. I think it's 118 exact. It gets actually really, really, really good efficiency. It's generally around 5 miles per kilowatt hour on the EPA testing cycle, and that's why they can get about 125 miles of range on just a 28 kilowatt hour battery pack. Now, this vehicle itself has about 33,000 miles on it and would be a great city vehicle, especially with the fact that this vehicle is actually only listed for a touch over $19,000. Doesn't need to be anything powerful, especially if you have another vehicle for like long trips or anything like that, or if anytime you go on a trip you just fly and you're using it in more of an urban environment. I haven't been able to test the charging rate on this, though I do know that the 2019 28 kilowatt hour battery packs road tripped significantly better than the 40 kilowatt hour battery packs. Ooh, F-150 Lightning Pro model. And in addition to that, that's because the charge curve on these actually peaked a lot higher. I believe the 2020s with the larger battery pack will actually only charge at about 40 kilowatt, and the 2018s were somewhere in the range of 65 to 70 kilowatt peak power when charging on a DC fast charger. Now, as far as driving dynamics go, it is a very compliant car, great suspension tuning, and realistically nothing that I take offense to. We've been driving around here in Massachusetts, which, if you know anyone from Massachusetts, they'll say that it's generally not great roads. And keeping that in mind, I mean, the suspension handles it decently. It's got relatively small tires. I don't remember the exact rim size off the top of my head, but there's quite a lot of sidewall, so it's able to absorb potholes and general road noise pretty decently. As far as turning speed or turning radius and everything like that, it actually has a very tight turning radius, and the vehicle itself actually has some pretty great, more modern touches. It does have Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto up front, though it does use a regular USB-A port for that, which realistically USB-C was not common up until probably about 2 years ago, starting with roughly the 2021 model year vehicles. I'm going to wait and we're going to go around this bicyclist. It does still have the regen paddles that I know and love from the eGMP platform, so it turns out Hyundai was actually doing that even before then. We're going to turn down here. Let's see if I can get, I don't know off the top of my head if it has nav. It does not appear to. Okay. I may have turned down a dead-end road, in which case we'll just turn around and go back out. All right, and so just driving along, I'm driving it pretty aggressively, and I am still seeing about 4-ish miles per kilowatt hour, a little bit over that. It's currently at around a 60-ish% state of charge, and this vehicle is still saying that a full charge range would be somewhere in the realm of around 110 to 120 miles, which is completely acceptable. Keep in mind that this vehicle, because it's under the $25,000 used vehicle tax incentive limit, actually qualifies for up to $4,000 off as long as you are under the federal income limits for that. As always, I'm not a tax professional. It's not a guarantee, but it's something you may want to talk over with an accountant or something like that before purchasing your next EV. Now, as far as actual driving dynamics go, I really, really, really like the way that this car drives. So I'm more of an SUV fanboy myself. However, for a car, it has better visibility than the GV60, which isn't saying much. The GV60 has really bad visibility. But, I mean, it's handling everything I'm throwing at it. Obviously, we're not doing any crazy driving or anything like that. It's a front-wheel drive car. It is an ICE-converted platform. They did still until recently sell both a gas, a hybrid, a plug-in hybrid, and an EV version of all the same chassis, which is nuts to me. This is, being the 2019 model, has the charging port where the gas cap would have been. The 2020s moved it up to the front of the vehicle. I do not know off the top of my head where the battery's housed, though I'm assuming it's going to be just under the vehicle, like in the floorboards itself, under the vehicle. Though it has a relatively small battery pack, so it could just be under the trunk floor because there's no spare tire and there's no room under there. And obviously they've put all the electric motors and everything under the hood. Alright, so yeah, this has no built-in navigation, but it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is great for an EV. It's got decent cup holder room. It actually still has the original window sticker in here. What was this new? Let's take a look. This was a $31,245 car new. Probably wasn't worth that, but I'd say it's worth about 18 grand now. We've got cloth seats, we've got heated seats themselves, no vented seats. Obviously it's cloth, so it's really, really hard for them to do vented with cloth. You do have Blue Link as well, which is like Hyundai's, basically their version of GM's OnStar, stuff like that. You've got two cigarette outlet 12-volt ports up here, and then you actually have another one in the center console, which has pretty decent space, realistically. You do have a sunglasses holder. Let's see. Okay, not LED lights, which kind of to be expected. It's a discount EV. But yeah, no, I mean, the seating position, very comfortable. No power seats, so entirely manual, which just means you can adjust it a lot quicker. No sunroof, but I mean, for the price, I wouldn't really expect one. Yeah, that's kind of going to wrap it up for the interior review, other than this really, really weird shifter that they have here in the middle. So this, here, let's get a little bit of a closer shot of this. So it's got a drive button, a park button, a neutral button, and a reverse button, and something for you to rest your hand on after you've shifted, I guess. It's just weird how they have that set up. You've got decent actual space right here as well. I realized I forgot to mention that. And cut.
I think it's actually like a mouse.
Okay, yeah. That seems really unintuitive to me. I would not have presumed that.
I mean, you want to rest your palm on something, right? You can't just put it on nothing.
How about the steering wheel?
Oh, yeah. You might want to touch that when you're driving, right?
Maybe. Yeah, they definitely had room to add a frunk under the hood, at least the size of the one that I have in the GV60. I find it funny that they make it look like it's a gas engine with the EV cowling on it. You can see the electric motor right there, actually. And then this is all probably inverter. Yeah, actually, because it's got a not very sloped roof line, it can hold 26 cubic feet of stuff. That's actually pretty respectable. And so that's kind of wraps up my thoughts on the 2019 IONIQ Electric. Like I said, it was actually a really, really pleasant vehicle to drive. And again, for that roughly $20,000 price point, this one's listed at $18,900. If you qualify for the federal incentives on used EVs, which just require that it needs to be at least 2 model years old, it needs to be under $25,000, and it needs to be sold by a dealership, honestly, I don't see why you wouldn't look into getting a used EV instead of something on the newer side. And as always, guys, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more content.